Hello, it's me, Miss Bethany. I'm so glad that you chose to join me today. We are going to start reading the book Ra, the Mighty Cat Detective. Let's jump in. Chapter 1, Invasion. Oh dear. When my adventures began, crime was the last thing on my mind. Stretched out by Pharaoh's pool in the hot Egyptian sun, I was doing what I do best. Absolutely nothing at all. Ra, you are the laziest creature I know, my friend Capri said. I ignored him. Capri's a scarab beetle, so he's only about the size of my paw. And his voice is tiny. But when he crept closer to my ear and said it again, I yawned and half opened my eyes. Lazy? Me? I blinked. Never, Capri. I make the most of every hour. But you haven't even moved a whisker all day, Capri protested. That's the beauty of it, Capri. I don't need to move. I'm already in the best place possible. I glanced over his shiny black wings and admired the calm water of the pool. It's sunny and it's peaceful. Even better, the people here treat me like a god. Believe me, I'm making the most of that. Capri flashed his wings. Well, people think highly of me too. There isn't a mummy in Egypt that doesn't have a scarab amulet over his heart. But I don't let that go to my head, Ra. I keep busy. Let me guess. I wrinkled my nose. You've been rolling dung balls, haven't you? Dung is poop. I have indeed. Capri rubbed his forelegs. First thing this morning, I started off by the stables. Ugh, I don't want to know the details, Capri. Scarab beetles love dung, but Capri loves it more than most. I've tried to cover my ears with my paws, but it was no use. And you won't believe how much dung I found there, Capri went on. Piles of it. Stop, I moaned. He did, but not because of me. A serving boy strode up with a mid-morning snack. Capri had to scurry back to avoid being stepped on. With a deep bow, the boy set my plate down in front of me. I gave him a gracious nod, but I waited until he left before I nibbled at my offering. Letting the humans watch you eat is always a mistake. It's hard to look like a god when you're wolfing down antelope stew. I didn't mind Capri seeing me, though. Compared with his meals, mine are classy in the extreme. After I had polished off the morsels on my plate, not only antelope stew, but some tidbits of spiced ibex, I rolled onto my back with a happy sigh. Delicious, I tell you. Capri, the cooks here get better every day. And now what? Capri said. You're going to lie around waiting for the next meal? And what's wrong with that? Ra, you need to get out more. I've known mummies with more interesting lives. What kind of comparison was that? Mummies don't eat, I pointed out. Or sleep. There's more to life than eating and sleeping, Capri. Capri said. Not that anyone would know it the way you act. Even when Pharaoh took you to Thebes last month, you didn't lift a paw. The servants carried you straight from the pool to the sunny deck of the ship. And then they carried you back. I nuzzled my paw. So what if they did? Capri sighed. Don't you get bored, Ra? How could I get bored when there are snacks? I said reasonably. You're hopeless, Capri told me. You've got less get up and go than one of Pharaoh's wigs. Because Pharaoh wigs. That's funny. Anyway, I rolled over and licked the last bit of gravy off of my plate. Capri could say what he liked, but I had plenty of get up and go when I wanted to. I just didn't want to very often. A few years ago, when Pharaoh was just a prince, it was different. I used to roam around then. But now I wasn't an ordinary palace cat. I was Pharaoh's cat. And there was no need to gad about. Everything I wanted was right here. And of course, I didn't get bored. Well, not very often, anyway. Only when my snack was done and I had hours and hours until the next one would arrive. Like right now. Not that I was going to mention it to Capri. After all, I counted myself lucky. I didn't have all the claims on my time that Pharaoh did. So many ambassadors to receive, so many rights to perform, and so much to live up to as he followed in his father's footsteps. None of that for me. As Pharaoh's cat, my life was easier than ever. If I was a teensy bit bored sometimes, so what? Anyway, if I complained, Capri would invite me to roll dumbbells with him. He doesn't seem to appreciate the dignity of my position. Now that I'm Pharaoh's cat, I live an exalted life, just as Pharaoh himself does. Everyone else in Egypt understands that. They generally show their respect. They keep their distance, but not Capri. Really, sometimes I don't know why I put up with him. Ra, it's not good for you to lie around all day like this, Capri said. You need another interest in life. No, Capri. I slouched back beside the pool, rubbing one cheek against the tiles. What I need is a nap. Capri drummed his forelegs in a marching beat. You've slept plenty already. Let's get moving. We can talk about it after my nap, I mumbled. Hey, Capri stopped drumming. What was that? I said, no, not you. Capri hopped around and faced the high wall at the far end of the courtyard. Over there. That scratching sound. As I turned my head to listen, a cat popped over the wall. I sat up. Cats may be gods in Egypt, but I'd be the first to tell you that not all of us look the part. This one was a mess. Young and scrawny, with bedraggled fur and a torn ear. Definitely not the kind of cat who belonged in the palace, let alone in Pharaoh's private quarters. Hey there! Panting, she scrambled over to me. I drew myself up higher. Hey there? What kind of greeting was that for Ra, the mighty, lord of the powerful paw? Direct descendant of the cat goddess Bastet and the great sun god Ra himself. He's a little full of himself. Anyway, I flicked my right ear. Excuse me, have we met? No, she said. I'm Miu. I live by the kitchens, and I need your help. Help? Sounded an awful lot like work. And why should I work for a creature who didn't even know the polite way to approach Pharaoh's cat? I stretched myself out by the water. Sorry, I'm busy. The youngster leapt over me and lowered her face down to mine. You don't look busy. The nerve! Didn't she understand she needed to treat Pharaoh's cat with respect? I put out a paw to ward her off. Well, I am very, very busy. Goodbye. She didn't back away. But you're a cat. You're one of the Bassett's own, right? We're supposed to protect the weak, remember? And there's a child here who needs your help. A child? Capri cut in. Who? Someone needs help. Chapter 2. Pampered. Now, who's the pampered one? Yeah, Ra is the pampered one. Chapter 2. Miu looked startled. Evidently, she hadn't noticed Capri before. A serious oversight, if you ask me. When you're a cat, observation is everything. That's Capri, I said. Pleased to meet you, Capri said. Miu bobbed her head at him. Likewise. After her rudeness to me, she was being friendly to a beetle. Really? It made no sense. I closed my eyes, wishing she would just go away. But instead of leaving, she kept talking to Capri. Well, the child's name is Tedamut. She works for the Pharaoh's great wife, and she's been accused of stealing an amulet, but she didn't do it. I opened one eye. I don't know if I can open one eye. Is it working? Anyway, how do you know she didn't steal it? She wouldn't, Mew said. She's the nicest of my humans. She's the niece of my humans. The cook's Bethany, and I've known her since she was a baby. She's honest as can be, and she's very kind-hearted. Before she started to serve the great wife, she worked in the kitchens, and she always did her best to look after us cats. Once, when I was a kitten, I got trapped in the storeroom, and she was the one who found me. Capri clicked in sympathy. And now she's in trouble? Poor girl! No one knows what's become of her, Mew said. Pharaoh's guards think she escaped the palace this morning, and they're searching the town. But I think maybe she's still here. I'm worried. Maybe the real thief hurt her. Mew turned to me. I don't know these rooms like you do. You need to help me find her. She wanted me to search through all the nooks and crannies of the palace for a child who might not even be there. I don't think so, Ra said. She meowed in protest. But you're sworn to protect children. I'm sworn to protect the children of my family, I said firmly. That would be Pharaoh's family, his 3 sons and 2 daughters, and they're all fine. The rest of the world is not my problem. I see. From underneath that torn ear of hers, Mew peered at me with disdain. So it's true what they say then. You really are a pampered nincompoop? Nincompoop? That's an insult if you didn't know. You're too vain to lift as much as one paw for anybody else. Nincompoop? Vain? I bristled at her and outraged. It isn't so much that he's vain, Capri told her. It's mostly that he's just lazy. Capri, whose side are you on? I said. No, don't answer that. I turned to Mew. You can have a look around if you want to. I'm not stopping you, but leave me out of it. I don't waste my time on things that aren't my problem. I turned away from her and started cleaning myself to show her that the conversation was over. I'm not going to lick myself, that'd be gross. Capri gave me the most disapproving click. Ra, we need to consider this. I shook my head. Never mind, Mew said behind us. He's probably too slow and flabby to keep up with me anyway. I'm better off just going on ahead on my own. Well, that's settled. She wasn't getting any help from me. Not that she was waiting for it, because she was already halfway down to the nearest doorway. No, Capri cried. Not that way. His voice wasn't loud enough to carry far enough, and Mew kept going. Capri turned to me. Ra, you have to stop her. Maybe I'm too slow and flabby for that. Capri clicked his wings fiercely and jumped onto my head. Ouch! I swatted at him, but the scarab beetles are really good at sticking tight. Grabbing hold of the fur right next to my ear, Capri whispered, Ra, if you don't help her, do you know what I'll do? I'll stick dung in your snacks. Ew. I sat bolt upright, my ears flattened in alarm. You wouldn't, I gasped. Dung in my snacks. Every day, for a whole week, he chirped. Your choice. It wasn't much of a choice. All right, I said grudgingly, since you insist. Let me make one point clear. I may lie around all day, but I'm not slow on my feet. When I want to run, I'm as fast as one of Pharaoh's chariots. Anyone in the palace will tell you that, especially any rat that dares to show his face. I intercepted Mew just before she reached the doorway. I wouldn't go in there if I were you, I said. Mew tried to push past me. I'm not listening to you anymore. I blocked her. You should. Keep going that way, and you'll land straight in front of Pharaoh's hunting dogs. Miu leapt back. Hunting dogs? They're used to me, but they're deadly to strangers. Make the wrong move, and they'll eat you alive. Oh, dear. Miu's tail whipped around anxiously. What am I going to do? You're going to let us guide you around, Capri said. What's this? I hissed under my breath. That wasn't part of our bargain. Oh, yes it was, Capri whispered, still holding on to the fur by my ear. I tried to swat him off my head again and missed. I'll take you myself, Capri explained to Miu. But I don't know where everything is. I mostly stay outside, you see. There's more dung out here. But Ra knows everything about the palace. Don't you, Ra? I might have forgotten, I said, being so pampered and all. Not just 1 week of dung, Capri whispered in my ear. 2. All right, I said. I'll show her around. If it was the only way to save my snacks, I supposed I could take Miu through a couple of rooms. Maybe then Capri would be reasonable. Even better, maybe Miu would decide to run ahead on her own. The hold on my ear relaxed. He really is a very decent creature at heart, Capri said to Miu. A quick tour, I warned them. That's all I'm promising. Fine with me, Miu said. I'm in a hurry. Then let's get going. The sooner this was over, the better. I led Miu across the courtyard to another, safer doorway. With Capri still riding between my ears, we trotted into the palace.